Every now and again, I like to go back and read the comments on some of my older YouTube videos. But I like to do that mostly to see what people are saying about the topic of the video, because it's really useful for me as a teacher to know what students are struggling with, especially with exam preparation, Cambridge exam preparation. And recently I read a comment on a video that I made about the listening paper. I think it was 6 tips on how to pass the listening in the Cambridge English exams. And this comment has the most likes. The problem with the C1 listening part is actually not the struggle to understand the audio, but the terribly little time given to read the questions before listening, and even less time before the next audio. So the fact that that comment has so many likes suggests to me that it's a problem that many students who take the Cambridge English exams struggle with. So I'm going to give you 3 tips that will help you with this particular issue. So the first one, I'm afraid it's the obvious one, but it has to be said, so I'm going to get it out of the way, is to do lots of sample tasks. The way to really understand a task and get familiar with it and get better at it is to do the task as many times as possible. You'll see that the more tasks you do, the more you'll develop the skill of identifying what the question is looking for, identifying the keywords, and just almost instinctively getting better at the task. Okay, the second tip, and this one's really important. Now, it's important to note that you will get some time to read the questions before the audio starts. In some parts, up to 60 seconds, so 1 whole minute to read the questions. But if that's still not enough for you, you can use the time in which the instructions are being given on the audio. So for each part, before you get to the real questions, you'll just get an introduction to the task. If you're prepared, if you've done sample tasks, you don't really need to pay much attention to the instructions because you'll know exactly what you have to do. You can spend that time reading the questions. And the final tip is to practice reading and listening at the same time. It really is about multitasking. Now, you'll notice in your own language, you can probably listen to 2 conversations at the same time, or read a book and have an idea of what's happening on the television that may be on in the room or the radio. But to be able to do that in a second language is a really high level skill. And that's what Cambridge are really testing. So practice reading text and listening at the same time. Maybe something on the same topic or something completely different. But if you can develop that skill, it's going to give you a huge advantage in the exam. Now, don't forget, I have many more tips for all the parts of the Cambridge English exams, the B2 First, C1 Advanced and C2 Proficiency in my online courses. So the link to that is in the description to this video.